Mass Effect 2.
That sounded like you were doing like a monster truck rally thing.
I'm excited about
Sunday.
That's right, at the Mass Effect 2 capital of Mid-America. And why was Mass Effect 2 awesome? This is a history of awesome. We talk about wonderful things in pop culture history. What makes Mass Effect 2 stand out?
I think a lot of previous series that we see as trilogies focus more on this one overall conflict, where Mass Effect 2 took a moment and said, hey, let's focus on these characters. And you really dug into these characters, like Tali, because she's the best.
Oh, why is she the best?
She's by far one of the most loyal companions you have. Very few characters will say, hey, you were gone and I missed you. And she says that, and it's just, it's very heartfelt. And
Esme, you told me before the show this is one of your favorite games ever. What is it about?
Yeah, it's I was actually introduced to the Mass Effect series with 2 because it came to PS3 the year after, 2010. And it was just so I didn't think I experienced a game that actually like made you care about all these characters. You were this hero. You did feel like there was this conflict coming after you, and that you can, even though the end of the world is coming, you could take your time to explore all these different creatures, find out about the planets, like find out why is Morden as witty and cute as he is, at the same time like finding out about his species.
it's not a sad thing.
Lore, personality, characters worth getting to know, people you actually cared about, great writing. But this is also a sequel that wasn't afraid to deviate from the original.
Right.
A lot of things change in this.
Which I think is important, right? Because so many times in movie sequels and video game sequels, we see either that sort of play it safe approach or try something wildly different diagonally that just doesn't pay off. It's actually like some of the first video game sequels we ever saw. Like if you think about like Castlevania, Zelda.
Yep, Mario 2.
Mario 2. Things that just took a weird shift. And they don't always work out as well as they should. But I think Mass Effect 2 kind of nailed it. It was also like, I'm a huge Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have a kind of like a really good space epic video game, because this actually was happening around the same time where we weren't getting a ton of great Star Wars games. It was kind of the dark ages for that, which I think we're finally starting to crawl out of.
Yes,
but,
hooray!
Hooray!
But in the meantime, we had Mass Effect 2 to keep us satiated. Again, a shift. The story remained very important, but the mechanics changed to be more shooter-like. Did you like that change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well,
Yes.
Why did you prefer it?
And like going back, I actually played 1, 2, and 3 within a month. And 1, just for the time, was fine, but going back and playing it now was almost unbearable to play.
Just because of...
Just because of the mechanics of how the shooter worked and how you were reliant on certain systems.
Right.
Whereas 2 felt a lot more natural and fluid.
Also rewarded you for coming back from Mass Effect 1 by...
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Continuing
really
your
cool.
save, which is amazing. And that's, of course, a big part of Mass Effect as a series. And puts the stakes higher. Like if you fail at the end of the day with certain people, then they don't come with you. So that's such a big deal.
Yeah, I thought it was always fascinating. And that was one of the earlier times we started seeing stuff like that. Unless you go back and count stuff like, the Oracle of Ages Zelda games or like Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. But usually, like, you finished a game and it was done.
Yeah.
And they figured that you would trade it in, then you'd buy the sequel. There wasn't really like this sort of like grain that you would carry through for the entire thing, which, I think gave people a lot of fuel to be angry when Mass Effect 3 didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, because they'd been connected to it for so long.
Sure.
Yeah, they were heavily invested.
Yeah.
It was a game that was easy to get invested in.
I really also appreciated for Mass Effect 2 how a lot of the things that you did before the final mission actually mattered. Like if you didn't do the stuff for the ship, your ship might mess up by the time it gets to where it needs to, and you might lose a member, which is something that if you don't realize it and you didn't prepare and you're at that moment, you're like, no, that person was someone that I was like having a relationship with, and now they're gone.
That's important too. In addition to all the other great characterization and decisions that mattered and a wonderful story, space sex. That's important too.